Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be putting in a surface drain into this, it's a 4-inch PVC drain that I've already got hooked to my downspouts here and here. So it runs, all the way out past those trees out there into the ditch. So the reason I'm doing this is because we recently had, so when we moved into the house, the gutters were just dumping into this flower bed here, and all that water was draining back along the side of the house and getting stuck behind this little retainer wall. So the water would just rise up, and our crawl space vent, our crawl space door is right there, and it would actually get high enough to start draining over there. So I installed the drains to keep all the water, from the roof out of this flower bed, drain it out to the ditch. But we recently had some very heavy rain, and I had water kind of coming off our patio and into this rock, and it kind of slopes this way. So it all drained to this side. And then here the grass was full, so we had a lot of rain. Anyways, so I'm trying to put something in to keep that from happening again, where that water just kind of rises up and rides along the side of the house until it gets here, and then it drains back. So what I have here is just a little T with a grate on top. I think I might, so generally you should put a basin in, I believe, when you have a surface vent. That way if you catch any debris, it won't clog up your pipe. You can go in and clean it out. I'm not going to do that. Like I say, the only time that we've had water buildup is just recently, and we had a lot of rain, a very unnormal amount of rain. So I think I'm putting this pipe in. I may put a solid cap over top of here most of the year until, maybe in the spring or when we have heavy rains, and I can come off and pull that off and put this this drain cap on there to let it drain. But the pipe itself, so I actually, when we had all that rain, I dug up this portion of the pipe and I put a little hole, because like I say, the water was, it was over my toes when I was standing here in the rocks when we had all that rain. So I uncovered this pipe, popped a little hole in there, and I mean, it just drained out. Like, if I had a bigger hole, it would have drained quickly. But so what I'm going to do now is actually put a drain in this area. But yeah, I think, normally you'd want a basin, that way if you get any debris down in there, you could clean it out. But when I drilled this hole, I was worried about that. When I drilled this hole, there was so much water flow going through this pipe, and it's so smooth because it's all PVC all the way out, that the little circle that I drilled out, by the time I drilled it and walked down, you say all the way down to the ditch, way down there, that little piece of PVC had made it out of the pipe and in the hole. So I'm not real worried about getting a bunch of debris build up. I think I have a really good slope, and when the water comes off the house, it has a really good flow through there. So I'm just going to keep it covered a lot of the times, and then when it rains, I'll pop this drain in there and I can drain this out if I need to. I don't know if I ever will, but since I already have a hole, I'm going to cut it, put this pipe in, so I have that ability to drain the water as it builds up in this flower bed. Alright, so I've got my pipe pretty much clear, from underneath. I'm going to attempt to cut it with my Sawzall here and here. I marked it, using this. I don't know how much flex I'm going to have to be able to get, both sides in. So my overlap's not going to be the full overlap, it'll probably be more like halfway. So I can slide it back and forth to get it in, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it and we'll see what happens. Okay, so took some finagling. I had to dig out a little further so I could kind of maneuver the pipes back and forth. And here's what I ended up with. So I'm all the way over here, and I have this little gap. So what I'm going to do is just kind of best fit that back over. So, I probably have this much overlap here and maybe this much overlap here. But I'm just gonna push it, move it all the way back, dope that up, and glue it. Slide this over, do the same thing on this side, and then slide it back and center it and let it dry. So that's what I ended up with. Again, probably have been much easier if I would have got a basin, because I think with the basin, you know, if you get a wide enough one, you can kind of put it on this pipe over here, and then you know, come back, so you don't have to cut it so perfect or so precise. And again, the basin will give you some room at the bottom where dirt and debris can drop in. I didn't do that, so we'll find out if that was a mistake, I guess, in the future. Hopefully not. I think this is simple enough. Like I say, I just wanted something that if I start to get water build up in this area, that I can drain it out. So we'll see what happens, but that's what I did. Again, there's better ways to do it, more appropriate ways, again, with the basin and things, but this is just what I did. All right, so got the dirt filled back in here, packed it down a little bit. So here's my rock that I raked up, and here's kind of where the ground was, where I started digging. So I don't know how you can see it. That surface right there is pretty close to being level with this right here. So I'm not going to fill in a whole lot of dirt around here. I'm going to fill it mostly with rock, and I'll probably put a piece of landscape fabric down, like a circle, and then put rock over top of it, just to keep any dirt, you know, from going in here, kind of keep it clean. But yeah, that's pretty much finished. Like I say, I wanted this edge right here to be a little bit high, or level with that, at least level, maybe a little bit higher than the center there, and I think I'm pretty close. So it's hard to tell, but this kind of slopes down and this kind of slopes down, so there's kind of a little channel there. That way, if there's any water that sits and starts to build up, it'll just drain out there. So here's the final result with the T tied into my drain system, with the grate on top. Back up a little bit. So I put a little piece of landscape fabric around the pipe anyways, and then covered it back over with rock, just to keep any dirt or anything from you know, filtering up and pouring straight in there. But it gives me a good access point if I need to put a snake down in there to unclog anything. I don't think it'll clog. I think it's pretty good the way it is, but just in case, and I can get to it from the other end as well. But that's pretty much the final product. So again, I don't know if this was the right thing to do, but I had a, again, hole in my pipe, and I thought this would be helpful when we do get those big rains. You know, if it ever decides to fill up again, it'll drain down here. Some other things I'm gonna do are you know, reroute, try to divert some water, but again, it's there if I need it. So I may end up covering, I think I mentioned that before, covering this, you know, most of the year, and then during our heavy rain seasons, just pop this grate on there in case I get any water, can go in and go out. So anyways, don't know if this was the best thing to do. If anybody has any comments, there's probably better ways to do these types of things, but that's what I did, just to show everybody. You know, if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and pop them down there. Thanks for watching.